I definitely have a problem. I just picked this up on Facebook Marketplace. Yep. And a Dynamite 15 engine in it. Starting to tear her all apart. And you can about guess what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to see if I can't stove this in there. This is the running hardware from the Blackjack 29 that I only have this left of it. I am thinking that motor is going to be a little big. I may end up going with a little smaller motor like this one. It is a lower kilovolt, 2000 kilovolt, so if I can't make that one work, I might end up ordering another motor, smaller diameter, higher kilovolt, so I get more RPMs off less batteries, because two of these are not going to fit along with running gear. So I'll probably be using something like that. It's only a 2-cell, so I'll need the higher kilovolt on the motor to spin the propeller a little faster. But I don't know. Still remains to be seen. I'm still tearing it apart, find out how much room I got. So there are a couple of videos on YouTube where, you know, people did convert these, but they didn't show any details on the inside, so kind of working blind here, but I think I can get her done. It's got a little bit of damage to it. I picked it up from the guy. Frickin' these things, as I was walking by, these are the handles, you know, you can hang out and carry it. I wasn't using the handles, and they caught on the edge of a flatbed trailer he had sitting there, and I dropped the damn thing and busted that. Got some nicks and crap in it, but it's all repairable. So, and it has been in an accident before, you know, mostly because there's some previous damage there, and then the sponson is cracked right there. It was tried to be fixed, but it didn't look like it was a very good repair. And but yeah, I'll probably end up replacing the stuffing tube with something a little more heftier, so don't go twisting that off. But me and my projects, I got all winter to work on it, and hopefully make her go like a bat out of hell. So, well, I'll continue later as soon as I get more done. Alright, I think I'm going to do away with some of the little itty bitty hardware. This is the tiny little flex shaft that was in there, and a little strut that was down in the bottom. Yeah, right. I removed the nylon tube that was in there. So a generous 3/16 stuffing shaft or flex shaft will fit in there quite nicely. Rotates real nice, not a lot of friction. And probably going to dispense with all that also. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do yet, but I'll sure let you know. Alright, I think I got it all worked out to where I can fit everything in there. The Leopard motor, 6 cells, and I have to change one thing. The outlet for the rudder shaft will have to be on the outside. I'll have to make a standoff here, and I'll have to run it to here, because this is how it's going to have to go. Batteries there. I will make some wooden mount, make some mounts, so I can screw this down here, so I can easily remove it to get at the motor. My speed control and everything is up there. I just have to extend the speed control wires out a bit. Not sure how I'm going to do that, because the heat this thing creates might melt the solder if I just solder a length on there, so I'm not exactly sure. I might use a different speed control, which actually probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Here, let me get one of them out. Speed controls. There we are. It's 120. 180 is just a little bit bigger, but I think it's got longer wires, so I think that will fit up in there. Probably sideways. Maybe this way so I can get at the switch. I'll just leave the switch on all the time, but I think this might be an option. But it all fits. This is from the Blackjack 29. I had to cut apart the running gear mounting. I'll show you a little bit more here. And I also had the second floor pan. There's a dual floor pan in this. I had to take out the first floor pan, so this is actually the bottom of the boat. Not ideal. And I did have to remove some bulkheads. I removed this whole bulkhead that was across here, and of course there's the mount for the motor that was again scabbed from the Blackjack 29 running gear mount. So, but it all fits in there quite nicely, and the center of balance isn't that far off. Center of balance when it had a full tank of fuel was right on this bulkhead right here. Center of balance is now about here. So I'm not that far off. It's a little front end heavy. We'll see what makes that. And this is actually the running gear from the Blackjack 29. I'm going to have to seal up all these holes, but it all seems to work out in the tube for the cooling. That'll run right alongside the battery. So on the underside, what I needed to do, since this is an oddball size stuffing tube and it had that nylon white deal in it, no longer has that, and this is a bigger diameter that goes into here. What I had to do is take a short piece of brass tubing, flare out the end. This was the first mistake. I crushed it there a little bit so it wouldn't fit up in there, but I flared it out, slid it on there. You can see I soldered that right on there. So that's not going anywhere, and then that fits right in there. And what I'll do with these holes, I'll fill these, or I may even take the strut. Where'd it go? God, it's such a mess over here. Well, anyway, the strut, the stock strut that was there, I'll just cut off the strut and have the aluminum plate to put in there. So that way the screw holes are filled. A little bit of damage there. I'm gonna have to glass that in. That's how I got it. There was obviously wasn't a crash. I think I showed you that before, but I've cleaned it up and I'm ready for glassing. A few little extra mistakes there, but I think all in all, all these holes here, these engine mounting holes, just one there, one back in there, and there's a couple on the other side. I have to seal all that up with fiberglass. And what here, if you notice, you can actually move that away from there. I'm going to glass that back down onto there so it creates an air pocket in here for flotation after I seal all that, get this rubber thing removed. But yeah, hopefully hopefully I can get it all buttoned together, and then comes the long waiting game till spring. The long waiting game till spring. See how it runs. But not bad. I'll continue to show everything in this video until it's all done, but anyway. I may have to rethink the motor mount because there's the motor mount I'm going to think about using. But in other conversions that I've done from a nitro to electric, see the different color change? That's because this is permeated with oil from the nitro engine. And on the other ones that I converted, nothing would stick to that, no matter how much roughing up I did or how much cleaning I did. So I may end up using the mount system. Just get a flat piece of aluminum, copy that that hole spacing, and mount the motor that way, and then slide it in on those rubber pieces go in here, so it slides in just like a regular, like the nitro motor did. So yeah, but a little more work, but at least the engine won't come loose when it crashes, which it will. So alright, here it is. The updated motor mount. Instead of using that one, went ahead and, because I was afraid that this wouldn't stick because of the oil. So it's in there. It lines up nice. All I gotta do is put the speed control up in there. Kind of make some trays for the batteries, some retainers anyway, and plumb it for water cooling. Get the rudder set up. Oh, it's going together good. Well, there's what I came up with. Pieces of aluminum on the side of the motor mount to mount the servo tray. Getting close to finishing now. It's getting pretty exciting. Now all I got to do is make some stops for the battery. I'll put a piece of wood there so when I slide the battery in, it doesn't go this way. Or maybe I'll cut a piece of foam to slide in there. Yeah, that's a good idea. When I have the batteries in there, cut a piece of foam. I'll do that. There, I got her all buttoned up. There's a piece of foam in there, holding that in there. I still do think I need to put something here so if I do crash, the batteries don't come out this direction. I mean, they'll be held in by this, but anyway, that's what I did. I had to put the radio right on top of the servo because I couldn't close the lid. Had the radio down here, and the wires for the radio were hitting right there on that clear plastic piece. I couldn't close the lid. But now the next thing to work on is the rudder. The plan, since I need it beefed up a little bit, I would just plug these holes and whatever. I got a piece of scrap fiberglass 3/16 that I had made, and I'm going to cut that square. I'm going to rough this up, get the paint off, and epoxy that right on there so I can have my I can have my T-nuts on the back side of this to hold my rudder on, so I actually have metal threads. So yeah, that's where I'm going with that. Okay, I've got all the running gear removed, and now I have to patch where I took out the false bottom. I'm gonna patch that hole. So I got some cloth and some epoxy. I'll spread the epoxy on with a brush. First, lay the glass down and then just push it down with the paintbrush, so I get a nice. What the hell am I shaking so bad for? Anyway, you get the point. All right. Here it is. I got it all glassed in. Can't really see too much, but there we go. All glassed in. And I did start repairing that crack too. So there's 3 layers of cloth on there. Okay, there. We got the transom reinforcement on there. What I've done is, of course, this is fiberglass. I've taken a piece of fiberglass mat, impregnated it with epoxy, and I've pre-drilled all these holes, you know, stainless steel hardware, so when it sucked it in and squishes it all, and yeah, that's that'll be a good reinforcement, I think. Can't wait to get this thing out in the water. There it is, all ready to run. Let's see the rudder rod guide, because when it's in a turn, and of course the water's going to create pressure and want to turn it back, it wanted to lift on that rod, bend it, so I put that stabilizer in there. But all nice and packed in there real well. I moved the radio from here to in there so I could run the antenna tube out here. But it'll be a while before you get to see it on the water, because it's January 1st now. So I think I'm gonna like it. It's heavy though. It's pretty heavy because of the batteries, but what do you do? Thanks for watching.